ReboundAnxietyCenter.com.
How are you, Jim?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Oh, good. I have a long history with Anxiety Center.
I'm very familiar with your name.
Yes. It started back in 2012. That's when I found Anxiety Center, and I've had my bouts with anxiety through the years. I've never attended a Skype call. This is my first time, and I'm enjoying it.
Oh, great. Welcome.
And where can I start? Like I said, I had a couple of bouts. I had a bad one in 2014, and then I thought I got better, and I did a testimonial for Anxiety Center, and lo and behold, it came back again because my underlying factors, which I know, I've learned so much from your website, and I want to thank you so much. From the bottom of my heart, you have saved my life. I can't even thank you enough. And I recognize some of the people on the calls because I listened to your anxiety Skype calls since like 2012. So I know Carol a little bit. I know her story. I guess the other one that was just talking, I think her name was Debbie or something.
Yep.
I've heard her. And my issues that I've been going through right now, my anxieties came back a little bit, and that's just because I'm in college and I was doing my internship, and prior to that I had a more, what do you want to say, like a more calm life. And then all of a sudden it was like, boom, I'm doing full-time internship, full-time school. I have a business, I have children. And I think with all that, and plus this COVID that just started, last month, I feel anxiety symptoms coming, creeping up. And now that I have the time since this quarantine, I could attend a Skype call and call in and speak with you guys.
Oh, I'm glad you did.
Finally.
Oh, my. Yes.
And I know what it is. It's just the overstimulation of my nerves from not getting enough rest, from going. And I know what they are, and I thought I handled it pretty well.
Yep.
But it's like now since I'm home, because it just started, I would say last Wednesday, that I have to stay home for my internship. I have to do my internship remotely. And I kind of know all this stuff because I've been listening to this through the years. I know a lot. So I know what it is, but it's disheartening and disconcerting a little bit. Because I'm like, really? I thought I was doing good.
Yeah. Well, hi. Hi, Tiffany. It's great.
Hi.
So I think you are doing good. I think it's great that you listen back and you're coming back. Have you thought of just getting back to your old therapist or another therapist just as a quick check-in? And as you said, you know the material, so just to tweak it isn't a bad thing, right? Everybody needs a nice little review. And maybe actually re-examining what are your underlying factors again, and re-examining some of the triggers that might have come back. Sometimes, as Nancy had said, in grief situations, in crisis situations, we have little trigger points. And I think our modules have also remind you that our brains do remember things in our past that were a little bit more traumatic, a little bit, and that memory stays more in our brain. So the COVID-19, as Nancy mentioned, is sometimes the trigger point, and it just brings us back to that. And it sometimes a little review, a little quick check-in with your old therapist might help you get through this point of change and adjustment for you. Just a thing.
No, that sounds perfect. And I work with Stacy, so maybe I'll just have to give him a call. And I am reading up on Anxiety Center and going through the questions, frequently asked questions about symptoms and stuff. And because I'm not scared, because I know what they are, but it must be, I don't know if I was distracted with full-time school, full-time internship, my business, the kids. And now that I'm home, I don't have those distractions. So I'm feeling it more, maybe.
Tiffany?
I'm thinking. I'm not sure.
Tiffany?
Yeah. Yes.
What happens when we start to slow down?
Yes. Yeah. And I know you said you're going to feel your symptoms because when you're so distracted, you don't feel them.
Yeah. Because we can go and go and go, especially when we have things to do. We get up and go, but the body runs on adrenaline. And so now when we have to stop for a little bit, well, then we notice how stressed we push the body. So it's very common, as you know, to have a resurgence of symptoms after sustained stressors, especially when we start to calm down. Do you think that could be playing a role?
I do, and I think another part of it, I know that's exactly what it is. And then another part of it is my fear, because I would say in 2014 it was pretty bad. And then I had gotten it again in 2018, I believe, and it was horrific. I mean, I was like bedridden, like I was like non-functional, and it took me a long time to even get to the point where I was back to normal, back to myself. So I just have that fear of, oh my goodness, if my body's calming down now, is it going to get to that point where it got in 2018? So I think that's a fear that I have.
Yeah.
That I don't know.
Yeah, sure. And there's some post-traumatic stress. So certainly when we've struggled with anxiety and symptoms in the past, of course, that's the thing that pops up when we start to feel symptoms again. Well, what if it goes back to that? Yeah.
Yes.
And it's understandable to have that because it was an established fear at one point. But again, if you look back, you recovered the first time, you get through your symptoms, you've done it the second time. So really, what's the threat? You know what to do, right?
Yeah, it's the threat. The threat, I guess it's not a threat. It's just like, oh, I don't want to get to that point again, because start the recovery all over again and feel all those horrific symptoms. And I think that's just the fear that I have. I'm like, because I know what to do. I'm not scared, but I don't want to go through it.
Yeah. Chris and Nancy, did you want to offer anything?
I think I have a few clients who have come back after a while, and they've made some tremendous progress. And then there are certain things that do stir up. But I would echo what Jim had said. Sometimes what we need to do is just settle back into some of our own old containment strategies. And allow the settling in and the using of those old containment strategies that have worked for us. And really, although I'm saying old, I encourage my clients not stop them, really. So some of these containment strategies I continue to use today, and I've been fully recovered for over 20 years. So They're not, even though they're old, what I mean is just continue to use them. But also recognize that when things get stirred up and life situations happen, we need to normalize the situations that occur, and we need to normalize the stress responses that we are experiencing. And we can revert back to our containment and coping strategies, but even when we revert back to them, it does take some time. So it's still going to take a little bit of time to settle. So the first thing I just want to reassure you with is just some patience. It's just some patience in using the containment, encouraging you to use the containment strategies that you know have worked. And then also just some patience, because although it's worked in the past, it will work again. But we still need to remember there's a cumulative effect that takes place when we use all of our containment strategies. And unless there are some other underlying issues that may have been creeping up, I would just echo what Jim had said and reverting back to some of the strategies that have worked and then giving yourself time and patience.
That sounds perfect, and it sounds right on. Thank you so much.
I just wanted to add too, before you run, Tiffany, is that a lot of times these fears, when you look back at our struggle, we struggled because we were afraid. So it wasn't so much the symptoms as much as our fear of them and where we thought that would take us. But if you can, again, take this right back to the notion, well, my symptoms are stress, and if I just get rid of my stress, I'm going to be good again, you don't have to add the fear component back in. I mean, I've got myself into places where some of my symptoms have come back just because I've been so passionate about working. I love doing what I do, and sometimes I don't pay attention to some of the things that I know I need to do, and some symptoms return. But because I know what they are, it doesn't take me very long to gear the body back down and go again. So if there's some fear there, again, as Grace had mentioned, you might want to touch base with Stacy and just ask them about why that fear is there. Since you've recovered twice already and you know what these symptoms are, there might be another reason underneath that fear as to what's driving it. And sometimes it just could be just a bad memory. It could be just that. But understanding that will enable you to just look at these symptoms as being stress related. And the other thing I wanted to mention too, you have a lot of things going on in your life, and part of living a healthy life is knowing our limits. And so that might be another thing you want to chat with him about is, all right, how did I get myself to this place where I'm this symptomatic again?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And that'll be an underlying factor for sure. So common ones are performance-based self-worth, self-esteem issue, value and all those things. But if you can chat with them and understand that, then you can get to a place where you can be energetic in life, but yet not driving your body so hard it's going to pay you back with symptoms.
Yes, that's exactly it. Thank you so much, Jim. Again.
You're more than welcome. Well, we're coming to the end of our time. I wanted to thank all of you who participated. Therapists, again, thank you so much. I know Nancy, you have to run right away. I appreciate you taking the time, Chris and Grace as well. And I just want to encourage all of you, we can get through this. We are a group of people who are struggling with the same things. We've all had anxiety. We know what you're going through, but we know there's a better side. And as a group and team and membership together, we can all do this. So I encourage you to certainly keep yourself safe at this really unprecedented time. Do the best you can. Don't worry about it. If you're struggling with worry, connect with a therapist to give you tools in terms of how you can manage that. But keep yourself safe, and until we meet next time, God bless everyone.